paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
I'm not gonna take it well when our Pokemon go to hell. Because that's where Pokemon go when they die. They go to Pokehell.
Okay.
Dogs go to heaven, but not Arcanine. Because he's a fire
Jason.
dog.
I mean, hell is canonically a thing in Pokemon. Like, that's where Giratina's from. Giratina is the representation of hell.
Okay, but canonically how? According to what?
Canonically,
Pokemon
Pokemon
die.
die.
According to what?
The Pokedex
According to the
entries.
tower in the very first
I
game
knew
where
you were
there's
going to say Pokédex. I have to say, every single Pokédex entry, do you know how many tentacles it says Tentacruel has?
It's like 10,000 or something.
It's like 200 something. However, having watched all the media in which Tentacruel has appeared, never, including the new Pokemon Snap, never once has Tentacruel had more than 13 tentacles. Therefore, the Pokédex is unreliable.
Are you telling me that unsupervised 10-year-old children doing an ecological survey are going to give you unreliable data? Are you telling me a 10-year-old who never went to school and only wants to be the very best that ever was, going out in the wild, starving to death, getting attacked by wild animals, is not doing a bunch of homework correctly? If that's true, that is surprising.
I'm just saying, I brought
somewhat.
receipts to back it up. That's all. Because I started out where you were. I was like, according to the Pokédex, and then they proved me wrong with this. And despite all my research, I could not back it up. I had to change my position.
Telling Professor Oak to just cram it. It's like, I'm not doing your homework, old man.
I mean, your position
your
is sus
grandkid to
because
do
your
it.
example is I researched a bunch of tentacles. So, like, really, where's your argument coming from?
Yeah, man, you found out. You got on a page with how many tentacles Tentacruel had by accident.
But look, they proved me wrong, and begrudgingly, heartbreaking.
Begrudgingly, I had to change all my fan art. It was terrible. I mean,
heartbreaking. The worst person you know just made a great
This says
point.
Misty's Tentacruel has 13 tentacles because I googled Misty and tentacles.
Yeah, like you said, it's heartbreaking. So,
Pokemon.
welcome to the show, everybody. It's Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined as always by DJ Douglas Johnson and Jason Alt. Jason, DJ, before we get to the magic, I do have to let you know that League of Legends will make its television debut with Netflix's Arcane. The animated series, which comes from Riot Games, is set to premiere later this fall. Set in the
Magic got scooped. Yeah. Magic was on that train way before, and they had some Game of Thrones writers all.
Yes, Game of Thrones writers, known for creating good content.
Yeah, but
known for making one of the highest rated shows in HBO.
Yeah, the thing that went from being a cultural zeitgeist to just something that must not be named.
Yeah,
it was a zeitgeist.
But here's the thing: that is just telling you how dated the entire thing is. Because remember, they announced the Magic movie with these guys, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, longer at this point. And then, no, if that wasn't happening, then it was going to be the Russo brothers of Endgame making an animated series for.
You mean the Russo brothers of Community?
I'm gonna watch the Magic movie on my MTG Companion Portal app while I drink my Magic branded sodas and.
Well, yep,
and snuggle my Chandra plushie that they just haven't capitalized on.
Those Jones sodas are probably worth a shitload now. Does anyone know what those are worth?
What is worth?
Yeah, they made sodas. They did make Magic sodas. That's the one out of the 4 things I referenced that actually does exist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I would use a Magic Snuggie.
No, I said snuggle my Chandra plushie.
I don't care what you said.
Jason's here for the Magic Snuggie.
I ignored the fact that you want a waifu.
Oh, you guys want to talk about Snuggies? Hang on.
No. Why do you always have to go get a prop, Carrot Top? Just sit in the chair and do the podcast. We don't have time for your shenanigans.
Look at this thing.
That's a towel.
That's not a Snuggie. That's a...
It's absolutely
like-
Snuggie.
Oh, is that Velcro?
it
Does that
is.
Velcro together?
Oh, it's a cape.
Is that a bath towel?
Looks
That's
like a
not a
bath
Snuggie,
towel
dude. A
to me.
Snuggie...
That
It's a
looks like what
backward
I
Snuggie. Oh
take to my
God.
son to convince him that he's a shark when he goes swimming.
You dress him up like Jigglypuff to convince him he's a
but,
shark?
like, that's what it looks like.
Daddy, I'm a shark.
This is-
I'm a
so many
shark.
people
And
are-
you're like, oh God, you're 11 years old. Stop talking
So
like
All right,
that.
this thing is
Only-
extremely warm. I gotta take it. This
Only
thing is
listening
super,
to the
super
audio.
warm.
They don't care.
I was gonna save this for the stream tonight.
Oh, that's a good point. This used to be an audio-only podcast. DJ put on a Jigglypuff reverse Snuggie thing, and no one was impressed at the end.
I was
Well-
gonna save it for the Nuzlocke. I was gonna make it like a stream thing tonight, but
That's got to be that's a Channel Pints reward right there. Well, we can't watch Magic on Netflix yet, maybe ever, but
Maybe
Riot
ever.
Games is continuing to kill it, following the successful release of Runeterra.
Considering everybody gets
Valorant.
mad at the lore every time there's a new set, do we really want a Magic TV show to make
Would make
everybody
everyone
mad? Do we want people who don't know Magic to be mad at Magic
Yes.
from externally?
I mean, yes,
Absolutely.
the attention is good.
I don't.
I don't care how mad they get. Their money's green. Like,
Yeah. All right. Well, some of the other news that continues to come out is we're learning a little more about what the new Channel Fireball backed marketplace that is, coming soon, TM, to compete with TCG players. So, DJ, do you want to go ahead and break down what we know, everything we know about what there's going to be so far?
sure. I mean, the TLDR, the ELI5, the SparkNotes version of it is that Channel Fireball has gotten out of the singles market pretty much completely. All of their inventory was sold to a different store that now just fulfills all their orders. If you're buying singles on CFB, that's where they're coming from. And Channel Fireball is just sort of jumping ship to the marketplace strategy, where they want to be the third party platform that is just this coveted spot in terms of like the retailer system of today's society, where like you always want to be like the Uber or the TCG player, the eBay,
Right.
you want to be the person that connects people. You don't want to actually have any risk involved in your own product. But like that aside, they are coming out with being a marketplace platform. They want to keep all their content and continue to be a content website. And the biggest difference is that they are only allowing actual licensed businesses to sell on the platform. So if you are a backpack trader, if you are somebody who does not have a literal business license, then you cannot sell on the Channel Fireball platform. There are quite a few positives to that. There may be negatives to that, depending on what your position is in the ecosystem. But one of the biggest positives is that it weeds out a lot of the sellers that would give TCG Player a bad name, and that like you can get rid of the sellers that don't behave or act according to the marketplace standards. And like that's something that TCG Player struggled with a lot, because you're able to keep 5-star feedback on TCG Player even if you really don't deserve it. It's incredibly easy as a seller. Again, there's a pathway point here of positives and negatives. Like the positives for me as a seller are that TCG is very friendly towards me and understanding in terms of getting rid of the Karens and the unreasonable requests and the very irate customers who don't really have a stone to stand on or whatever. But
I think it's
yes,
so to stand
absolutely.
on for sure.
That's canon now in the BSB lore. And the downside of that is, like, if you're a bad seller, or a seller who doesn't, who has inventory errors all the time, or who misconditions their cards, or just constantly refunds orders, or has orders go missing, or just anything like that, if you're one of those sellers, and you buy from one of those sellers, and you complain about them, and you say, hey, this is messed up, and then as long as they make the slightest effort to make things right with you, then TCG Player will basically encourage you or make you get rid of your negative feedback. So You can have sellers out there who maybe have like a 30% success rate on their orders, but as long as they go back and make it right afterwards, then TCG gets rid of that feedback. So the going back to the original point, Channel Fireball will not have those people. You have to be an actual store. You don't have to be a brick and mortar store. Like, I'm not a brick and mortar store. I applied to be on the CFB Marketplace and was approved, but you have to have an actual business license.
So how do you think that changes the experience for, it's obviously what it does for people who are selling out of their house or whatever on as a hobby on TCG. But how is that going to affect the experience for the end user who's just trying to use it to buy cards for the cheapest price?
Overall, I do think it gives the average consumer a more positive experience because you're buying from stores that are known, they're known quantities, they are actual business licensed stores that have way more Magic cards than I do back there. Or you're buying from me, which would be cool. And overall, I think it is a better experience for the consumer because it's sort of like buying from TCG Direct, where like your cards are conditioned by somebody with actual knowledge. They're shipped out by somebody who knows how to package, and you're still paying that sort of competitive market price where I have to compete with X, Y, and Z store all on the same platform so that the cards become cheaper when it's not just Card Kingdom telling you X and then you go buy from Card Kingdom even though their prices are 30% higher. So like you still have that marketplace competitiveness between individual sellers, but it does sort of get rid of a lot of the rabble, for less of a better term.
Yeah, the two things that any competitor, when you're trying to break into a space that's kind of monopolized, you have to have is visibility and content, or in this case, buyers and sellers, right? You have to, the product being customers, right? You have to entice sellers onto it by having customers, but you have to entice customers by having enough sellers who are going to compete at a low enough price to make it worth using in some way over TCG Player, right? So yeah, and I mean, Channel Fireball is one of the few companies in the Magic space, I think, that has the visibility. Maybe like a Star City or a Card Kingdom would be one of the others, maybe, who just have the ability to draw in enough people in that initial wave, that initial push. So and then it remains to follow, if they have stores, if the experience with stores being uniform and of a higher quality than the backpack grinder selling out of TCG Player, do you think that'll be enough to entice customers over, especially if it's maybe a little higher priced because stores probably have a higher margin than the backpack grinder?
I think a lot of it comes down to the Channel Fireball store credit. That's something they've pushed very, very, very heavily over the past 12 to 18 months or so, with Channel Fireball Pro. And I mean, that was marketed as just this, guaranteed value sort of thing where it's like you pay us $100 and then you get $100 in store credit and then you get access to all these features. That you can market that as like a plus 100 and X% EV play because you're getting something for free if you already would have bought there. But Channel Fireball's singles prices were usually a bit higher, so you're paying like $100 for what you could have spent elsewhere for like $80.
And stock was an issue too. I think a lot of people struggle to spend their Channel Fireball store credit, because they just didn't have the cards they wanted in stock. So ironically, they banked it for when stock is getting a little bit better.
And if you have CFB store credit right now, it will transfer over to the marketplace, which makes you have a lot more buying power because those stores that are going to sell multi-platform, so you'll have some stores that sync with this point of sale system. They're partnered with Binder POS. It's sort of like a Crystal Commerce-esque like multi-listing software sync kind of thing. So you have stores that sell via Binder POS, which means they'll have inventory listed on CFB, they'll have inventory listed on Amazon, eBay. They'll just cross-platform list, and you'll be able to access those stores with your store credit. So if you have CFB Pro now and you have CFB store credit now, and you're looking at, or you have looked at CFB's inventory in the past year and a half and you've been like, they don't really have anything, save it and you'll be able to spend it on my singles and other people's singles and those sellers who are going to have to compete for lower prices.
Yeah, that also brings...
Now, I think the success of this as a platform really depends on the return of in-person play, because the majority of the single sales being generated right now are for EDH cards because that's the one format people are still playing paper because they can play it on webcam. EDH sales have been very, very good. People don't think of Channel Fireball as a place to get EDH content and therefore EDH singles. It's not in the conversation. It would have to make itself part of the conversation in order to have any success if it's going to rely on EDH sales, which is why like modern and standard and that kind of stuff returning in paper is going to be what determines whether this platform's successful, because I don't think they have the bona fides to be like one of the go-to sites for EDH singles, and I don't think there's enough demand for paper and other formats for this to really work out.
That's interesting.
I think there's truth to that. I mean, Card Kingdom.
Channel Fireball is very much
I agree. Like their big flagship
site.
players are like LSV, like Menguchi, like Redo, like.
Yeah, but do you think that matters to people who just want to buy Magic cards for cheapest price? If the
it's not about the cheapest price
I
for
think
those players.
those people
it's
have
never
never
been about the cheapest price.
They're not used to going to Channel Fireball.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So the competitive players that want their competitive staples for competitive events have heard of Channel Fireball, and that's the marketplace they'll be inclined to use. But I think casual players who just want EDH stuff, they're not used to checking Channel Fireball, and it's going to take reaching out to them in a way that I'm not sure Channel Fireball.
Yeah, it's like
that's why we
to get them as buyers. But
well, like all the
that's
affiliate
the
links
thing
too. Like when you go to Card Kingdom to read your favorite Commander article or whatever, you go to EDH Rec or you go to Commander's Herald, like whatever you go to, like those links aren't going to Channel Fireball.
That's true. It's not really sort of in that loop, right? And EDH Rec, is obviously a big part of that conversation just because of how many people use it.
Yeah.
So the prices that are on there do matter.
Like compared to somebody who like watches an LSV play Modern and then like they go get their Modern deck from LSV.
Yeah, I think that's all true. I also think that, at the end of the day, it's just, that's why I brought up visibility, right? Channel Fireball is known as a brand, so it's more a matter of pushing, that getting in front of those people to give their marketplace a shot. But at the end of the day, I think it's just going to come down to fees. I mean, so how do we know anything about the fee structure of CFB in comparison to TCG Player?
Yeah, it's very similar, if not functionally identical in terms of singles. The fee structure between the two is basically identical. The only difference is, I believe, Channel Fireball's marketplace is a lot cheaper if you're listing sealed product, which I generally don't recommend unless you have those like distributor outs where you're just making it a volume game and flipping hundreds and hundreds of boxes or whatever. If you're just an average Joe, number one, you're probably not getting on the Channel Fireball marketplace, and number two, like if you were just starting out, like if you're just starting out as an LGS and you have a business license and you're like, oh, I can sell sealed product better on CFB, that's where it might be a little better if you have those distributor channels. But if you're just starting out, like you're not selling boxes on TCG Player. Like if you're a judge, you're probably not selling them there. You're selling them on like local Facebook groups. Really,
it's not a great place to flip, but if you have, if you can pay dealer cost.
Yeah, but like other than that, the fees are comparable, and a lot of the other stuff I've seen from what I've discussed, like a lot of it's just very similar to TCG Player structure, or it's like intended to be. One of the other differences is there's not going to be a direct system. Mm-hmm. So CFB has no plans on housing their own singles or housing their own sort of like
right. They're planning to solve that issue by only having licensed stores.
Yes,
right. Yeah, the issue that Direct was existing. I
mean, Direct was for like licensed stores too. It was advertised as a way to like, hey, save on labor costs, like ship to us. Like it's Direct is for high volume, like.
That's what I'm saying. Well, the idea, if you look at it from a quality perspective, right? The idea for a consumer is that by paying more through Direct, you're going to have a higher quality because it's being quality checked by TCG and not random person out of their basement. CFB is addressing that issue by not needing the middleman, by eliminating the guys in their basement, right? So, in theory, the baseline, quality of service would be equal to Direct, not necessarily the average TCG player.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, it's also like a factor if you are a direct seller and you're on Crystal Commerce and you have all these sync selling systems that's a tongue twister, sync selling systems in place. And you don't want to, if you are like a smaller operation, but you're still on that like larger volume scale, like, do you want to be shipping 50 orders a week from your Channel Fireball store, or do you want to be shipping 3 RAs a week to TCG Player via direct? Like, there's a conversation to be had there, depending on what your system is.
Yeah. All right. Final question on this topic before we move on. I think though this begs the question: what is TCG Player going to do in response? Do you think anything? Do you think they don't care? I think there's definitely probably room for 2 marketplaces. But what do you think? Do you think this scares TCG Player enough that it changes anything that has been going on there for either the buying or selling end?
I don't think it scares them until numbers actually show up. Because there's precedent for, I'm going to be the next TCG Player, and then we all know how that happens, and none of us know the names of those websites.
Right.
Like, until there is actual pressure on TCG, they will respond in kind, because they have the benefit of just being that juggernaut in terms of not needing to make a move until they actually have to.
But they were competing with Channel Fireball for single sales before.
Well, Channel Fireball actually sold.
Channel Fireball sold on TCG Player. I mean,
yeah, they may have been competing at one point, but they won. So, but the thing is that it made there's some tension there, but it still made sense if you're Channel Fireball to sell on TCG Player.
I mean, an analogy. I mean, I know I make a freaking weird analogies on this all the time, but like an actual real analogy within the Magic universe is Wizards taking 8 years to make Arena. Like, Hearthstone came out, and then like Wizards had the ability and like the juggernaut power to just be like, fine, we'll wait and see. Like, we don't need to like, oh, rush dev time, make the Arena make the Hearthstone competitor now. We need to, like, they had an established system, and they can just say, fine, let's see if it works. Looks at Watch for 4 years. Oh, cool, Hearthstone's successful. Start working on Arena. Like, this is a thing.
Just the point was TCG Player has plenty of competitors right now, and like they're competing for sellers is going to be new for them, but I don't think they're going to compete for buyers as much as they're going to compete for sellers. But I think a lot of people might be on both. They might figure out like what sells better here.
I'm gonna figure out what sells better on CFB Marketplace. Like, I already know what my direct cards are. There are certain cards I make way better margins on direct. Those are always going to go through TCG, and then I'll see, okay, maybe my modern cards have higher margin on CFB. Maybe my standard or specific kinds of foils sell better on TCG. Like, I'll just use both, and like that's fine. Or maybe if I get sealed product from collections or whatever, that goes through CFB. That kind of stuff.
So I guess it comes down to whether if it's easier to buy list to the Channel Fireball.
Well, that's the other thing, is that there's not going to be a buy list on Channel Fireball anymore.
For you to buy list and turn it into store credit, because that's not really.
Well, that's the thing. There's not going to be a buy list on Channel Fireball.
They've said that already.
Like, there's not going to be a buy list because, like, who are you selling the cards to?
Oh, because
like,
they would
Channel
have
Fireball's
to
not doing singles, so like there's no buy list. So, like, that's another advantage TCG has, is I can have a TCG Player buy list. I can set up as a direct seller. I can say, I'm buy listing these cards on TCG Player, and Jimmy Timmy the Third can, like, go to TCG and be like, I'm selling my Snapcaster Mages to get TCG store credit. And then those go to me if I have the highest number.
Yeah, I'm saying if there's a mechanism for like, the sellers on the platform to be able to have a buy list.
Yeah, I don't think there will be. Because, again, that requires, like, the cards to go through CFB headquarters.
Makes sense.
All right. Well.
I mean, there's no saying they won't do something like direct later. Like, who knows? So we're speculating at this point.
Yeah.
Speaking of speculating,
something like that. Anyways, it is time for Breaking Bulk. I would like to go first.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
I think I've got a good one. I have a Theros artifact, original Theros.
Is it an
Is it
equipment?
Springleaf drum? Oh, that was
It is
that
not
was not
Springleaf
Theros.
drum.
Is it an equipment?
It is an equipment.
Is it the thing that gives a creature? Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that makes
Yeah, there's like
creatures
the
harder
boots,
to block.
there's like the wings, there's like a lot of just random
The mask.
what is it? Greco. Is that the term Greco something esque, Greco-Roman esque?
Yeah, you haven't named it yet though. You're in the ballpark here.
Goodness. There's a
It's
chariot.
not a chariot.
There's sandals.
Not a sandals.
There's
Not
a
a
mask.
a harness.
Goodness.
Nope.
Goodness. Is it the shield?
It is a shield of sorts, but not. But maybe like one on your head.
A shield on your head.
I
You mean
do.
a
I mean a
helmet?
helm. Prowler's helm, as a matter of fact.
I didn't say helm. Are you
I'm pretty
sure?
Yeah. You all said everything but the helm.
Are you quite
Run the
sure?
tape,
Run the
please.
tape.
Prowler's helm is $1. It's gone up only over the past 6 months or so. 2 mana equipment, 2 to equip. Equipped creature cannot be blocked except by walls. So I don't know.
I was
Except
gonna
by
say you're just
Corbin's
speaking this because you have an
deck.
Arcades deck.
It's just a recent climb up from bulk to $1. So this is definitely one that you very well could have in bulk. So keep an eye out for Prowler's helm.
It's insane to me that this gets played when there's like Whisper
Well,
Silk Cloak.
okay,
and
so the
stuff
thing
that
about
just
Whisper Silk
seems a lot
Cloak,
better.
and I was actually considering picking Whisper Silk Cloak for my Breaking Bulk, is that it's like $7 now, depending on the version you pick. So, like, that is not a
Woo.
budget
and,
card.
Yeah.
and also, like, you can't stack a ton of stuff on it because it doesn't give it Hexproof,
Yeah.
it gives it Shroud. So that's a consideration also.
All right, I'm
All right.
mad at that pick, so I'm going to release my Ninjutsu Seal and pick out my forbidden breaking. It's not even a forbidden breaking bulk, but it's a forbidden ninjutsu breaking bulk. This one is unguessable, I think. If you guys get this, I will be flabbergasted. I'll be shocked.
Guessable.
It is a red card that was not in any set because it only exists as a promo.
This is stupid.
Nope.
Melanthe
It is in
Dragon.
that kind of genre, though. Like, it is that kind of card. Where it's a one-of card.
Yeah.
Nope.
Is it
Sure
a
sounds like
Christmas
bulk.
thing?
It's not a holiday card.
Yeah, right.
Breaking bulk.
Hey guys, rare stuff you can only get from tearing a page out of a book.
It doesn't have a gold
bulk.
set symbol, and I found it in bulk, so... It has a black set symbol, even though it's not even like a set.
Yeah,
It is $7, so if you may have passed these in bulk.
an Underground Sea doesn't have a gold set symbol, and you can find those in bulk. So I guess Underground Sea is a good pick. I put a Japanese foil demonic tutor in my bulk, and now it's breaking bulk. You should pick those out of the bulk after you put it in there. What's wrong with you as a person that you would do this? It's a $7 promo, and it's never been. Goodness, why are you like this? Is it
Nope,
an
it's
uncard or
a
something
real
stupid
Magic
like
card
that?
that could be reprinted today with the same text
I
it has
don't-
in a regular
I
set.
don't-
Like, it just
I
has
don't
regular
care.
text.
Yeah, we don't care.
Windseeker Centaur was a media promo from God knows when.
1995.
Okay, so you're familiar with the card.
Yeah, it's a card in
Okay,
Chandelar,
well-
baby.
There you go. Then you know what this card does. Tell us all about Windseeker Centaur.
Oh, it's for the trivia in Chandelar. I know this because if you get its casting cost wrong, it spawns a monster in front of you.
Windseeker Centaur's casting cost, its mana value, is 2 red and 1 colorless for a 2/2 Vigilance in mono red. And it is $7.
Mm-hmm. It's a better Grey Ogre, that's for sure. It's rare. It's got that weird mace as the expansion symbol. Yeah, it was a
DJ
weird
has
media
also
promo.
respect for the rules of this game. Jason, what do you have?
What?
Right? This is a $17 card. I found in bulk. This is a buckish, and it has 1.5 printings. The first one is Time Spiral. It is uncommon, and it is white.
A white uncommon from Time Spiral with 2 printings. That's $1.
So
1.5.
Booster or something like that, probably.
The list, baby. Yeah, it's Mr. Booster.
Time Spiral, uncommon, white.
Promise of Bonerai.
That's
What? That's Kamigawa, you idiot.
That was
And Masters
Kamigawa,
25.
Dog, and that was rare.
I knew it had 2 printings.
Yeah,
That's not.
that's just a. It's a white card with 2 printings. Okay. I've said dumber stuff, so I'm gonna stop scoffing now.
White Time Spiral, uncommon.
Instant.
I didn't know what the original one was from.
I'm gonna feel dumb when you say it, though.
It's called Promise of Bunrai and shows a guy committing seppuku.
Okay. I just knew it made flyers.
You mean Sudoku? Corbin, Promise of
No.
Bunrai doesn't make flyers. I think it just makes ground creatures. Because the spirits in Kamigawa were on the ground, so you're just...
Corbin soul shifted because he's getting roasted so hard his soul left his body.
Got him, counter.
Pull from
Eternity.
Eternity.
Duh. Yeah. Yep, good call.
Put target face-up card that's removed from the game into
Yeah, this one's been a pick for a while.
That
This
card
has
is
always
good,
been a good
yeah.
one. One of the
It's a
few
dirty-
cards that can put
dirty
exiled
card.
cards back into the game state.
So there you go. Pull from Eternity. Pull from your bulk.
And
Pull
you
from
will-
your bulk.
Good
I
one,
was gonna
Jason.
say, yeah, you'll
Eternally.
always pick
Never
Thank you,
stop
Jason.
pulling this. Yeah.
If you want to figure out more breaking bulks yourself, you can go to mtgstocks.com, which is what we use to look at all of the graphs and charts that we reference in this podcast. But you can also, and I do this a lot when I'm going through binders that have a lot of cards from one set, you can sort by set, and then you can look at filters according to price, according to rarities, and that sort of thing. So it makes it really useful if you're sorting bulk to say, okay, well, I've got a bunch of, looks like I've got a bunch of Dragons of Tarkir in here. Well, let me look at what's worth money out of the commons and uncommons and Dragons of Tarkir. I use MTG stocks for that. I just have the page pulled up and it makes it really useful. So just want to encourage everybody to go check out our sponsor, mtgstocks.com, for all of your Magic price needs. So
Corbin, how do I set sort Windseeker Centaur?
It's bulk. Put it with your bulk. So sick of your face. So sick of your smug face. Sewers of Estar.
all right, let's at least hear some.
It doesn't have a gold expansion symbol. You're always getting on me for picking rares. This isn't a rare.
DJ, you can do something more useful than that pick, though. How about you read us some emails from listeners? Hear it.
My picks are always useful. Someday,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Go pick all of those Windseeker Centaurs you have in your bulk,
would you,
folks.
if you saw a 3-mana 2/2 mono red vigilance creature in your bulk, would you normally pick it?
It's just
If I had never seen the expansion symbol in my
But if you're
life, I'd look that shit up.
like left to right, then you're not seeing the expansion symbol. Unless you're looking at every
I sort
expansion
upside
symbol
down.
ever.
It's just a complete lack of respect for the rules of the game. That's all.
Show me the rule book.
They mean something, okay? These unspoken rules mean something, okay?
Am I the only one who gives a shit about the rules?
Anyways, let's hear some emails.
All right, this one is from Mind Games Magic. I have a 2-row shoebox of foils from Urza's Destiny to Masters 25. A lot of older ones curling from left to right. Wait, older foils curl? I thought Twitter said older foils were perfect. I thought they were untouchably...
Finish the email.
Other than the curling, they are near mint. What condition do I post them at on tcgplayer.com? Thanks for making my Friday afternoon special VOD on YouTube. You list them at LP generally, assuming there is nothing else wrong with them. Unless they are like
Which
mega
feels bad.
tacoed, in which case MP, like if you struggle to fit it in a sleeve, then I guess MP is the border.
Is
for
that how you should classify foils? Like
I hate
bent foils?
I hate foils, man. Pack to sleeve. I don't want to
At
say
what
they're
point
mint.
do they become damaged from curling?
It's technically fixable. So as long as there's nothing.
So what
not
about
fixable.
Commander Legends
Right.
foils, for instance? If you went on TCG Player and tried to buy a near mint Commander Legends foil and it was a taco, what would happen?
Then you would.
It really depends
Yeah.
how litigious you are.
Okay.
But you can't list that stuff near mint. So it just you can't. When I was opening like TSR stuff, I was throwing every foil in a perfect fit in a sleeve and a top loader. Any foil I cared about, like anything at tacos, I don't care. But like anything expensive, I was doing that right away, doing intervention on it. So it's I think DJ's probably correct about you have to list it as LP. But if it's worth any money, like more than $10, there are guides online about how to mitigate the curlin, which poses a risk to the card. So I would practice on some gabbage before you try anything expensive.
This next question is non-magic related, which thank you. Please send more. Practical and hypothetical questions, and they spelled it just like freaking super weird. From Michael, greetings, fellas. First question for the dads. Do you collect anything for your younglings? My little guy is 3 in July. He arrived the week of Corset 2019, and starting with that, I've been stashing a bundle for each release.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That's super smart. I'm a shitty dad.
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
I bought a bottle of scotch for both of them when they graduate from college.
I guess I put money into a college fund. Does that count?
Yeah, I'm collecting money. I'm saving water because in 18 years it turns out we're like Magic cards are going to be worth nothing because clean water will be the only currency, and we will be battling other continents.
Yeah.
Would you
for the
describe it
ice
as
that collects in Canada.
what was it? Mortal Engines
All the ice
style?
is all the ice is melting. We're going to run out of water. Jason Alt, 2021.
Potable water, dipshit. It's like Corbin's like, there's a perfectly good swamp over there. Get out of here, Shrek.
Corbin, is it going to be Mortal Engines style combat? Is that?
Yeah, dude. That's the only option. He said we're battling other continents. It's like Mortal Engines 2. They've gone bigger than countries.
I literally meant our continent will battle their continent. You're incontinent.
I hope.
That's a good idea. I know you were hoping I would have a cool answer, but I'm just like, man, I should really do something. My kids are named after Magic characters. I should probably get every Liliana and every Sorin or something like that, right? Like I should do something.
I just let my kid play with some of the cards. I've got him. He likes to help scan cards with the TCG Player app in here at Ding. So I got him doing that. I don't know. I got nothing for this.
All right, next question. Since DJ is house hunting, would you rather have a house with an indoor pool or a bowling alley?
Well, I know the answer.
That is not even close.
You're not going to get either, but which would you
Pool.
prefer? Yeah, pool 100%. Who would want a
You're
bowling
both
alley?
wrong. And
Like, it's so crazy that like you've got millions of dollars to have an indoor bowling alley, but you're white trash enough to want an indoor bowling alley. Like,
listen,
the Venn diagram of those,
Indoor
it's
pools,
like
indoor
I was gonna
pools
say that's like a
are
Joe
work.
Exotic kind of.
No, you got to understand. Indoor pools are infinite work. You have to clean them constantly. You get like it messes up your windows.
Do you think bowling
My
alley
wife's-
is just like
my
wife's
window.
family had an
maintenance?
My wife's family had an indoor pool, and they hated it. They hated it. It messed up all the windows.
No, I
and
like.
it was
I'm not.
in.
Trust me, I'm not looking for a house with a pool. But like, if I had the choice between the two, like, then I hire somebody to take care of the pool. Like,
Yeah, I mean, an indoor bowling alley probably isn't infinite work, but it's zero enjoyment.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just want to bowl, you know.
No, never. I never want to bowl.
Okay. I mean, it's just a classic American pastime that you hate. It doesn't really match with your whole dad grill energy, but whatever, that's fine.
I'm not allowed to not like bowling because
I don't
like
think
steak.
bowling
Get
is
outta
like
here.
a bad sport per se, but it's not like a in-house. Like, how different is it than
It's not
Wii
a
bowling?
sport.
Let's be honest.
Don't talk shit on Pete Weber, all right? The man is a living legend.
Corbin, how different would a real-life bowling alley be from Wii Bowling?
I don't know the answer to that, man. How different is real-life golf from Wii Golf? I'm pretty good at the Wii Golf. Think I'd be.
I agree.
Golf.
Like, they're both pretty similar.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want a golf course in my house. But, like, there's no Wii swimming pool. So, like, let's...
Yeah. There should be. It could be called Wii Swim. Swimming? Swim. It's
a stretch. I like Wii Swim
with
better.
2 eyes.
You had it the first time.
I'm pretty sure there are. I'm pretty sure
I like
there are
Swim
swim
more.
games, but I'll grant you, I have not heard of Wii Swim, so therefore, that logic. Is
I got it. Wii MCA.
From Stefan, $20 patron Stefan T. Good title. Hey Brew Crew, with the way the aftermarket has been going since the pandemic started and Magic Fest stopped happening, what do you think will happen if for some reason Wizards don't bring back Magic Fest in the same way? Say they only do 1 or 2 a month or even at all, or do you think they come back in the same way of most weekends we'll see a drop in the price of cards and more supply? Anyways, love the cast.
Something will fill that gap, right? Like there's even if Wizards doesn't do like the big old Magic Fest, like there will be something.
Star City's in a very powerful position right now. In terms of like competitive grinder circuit events, Star City's in a very powerful position. If you're like a modern player who's itching to get their like 5 a.m. PTQ fix, like Star City is going to be your go-to, I think, in the future.
Yeah, there's a couple other. There was also Magic at DreamHack, I believe was the circuit. There was Paper Magic before Arena, and then there was Arena as well at DreamHack. So you'd have something like that, even if you didn't have sort of the Paper GP classic model. I don't think you.
And for casual formats like for EDH, you don't have to have any mechanism. Like anybody can.
Remember, they were
like,
doing Command Fest.
Yeah, I was. At risk of going on, I've done like 1.5 DJ rants this episode, and I guess I can spend the last like 1 DJ rant per allotment. Like they were already leaning hard into just not giving a crap about the main event over like the past 8 months before it shut down. Throughout the entirety of 2019, it was very non-main event focused, and they reinforced that heavily with like mystery boosters. The last 7 or 8 GPs before shutdown were all just mystery booster big conventions. Like there was all those Reddit posts on just like, oh, there's 200 players in the Magic event. Like this GP is horrible, and I was sitting there in the event hall watching the full event hall where everyone's drafting mystery boosters, and I think that is absolutely the future of where events go. Is they're going to lean hard into the convention style and not the 3,000 person tournament style, because number one, that's miserable logistically, and number two, that just makes them less money than people firing mystery booster drafts all day long. And the same with the Command Fest. Like they just make so much more money by selling battle passes to people every single weekend for a Command Fest, and then you go for the weekend and you have your Command Fest battle pass. And like that's absolutely going to be the model going forward. I guess I didn't really have a concluding paragraph to that English.
Nope,
essay.
That was all 100% accurate and correct, and I agree. There will be some kind of paper-focused event. I think that you can expect Wizards to be very slow and deliberate in regards to the pandemic and hosting big events for many reasons, right? So,
but dealers cannot wait.
I don't know if you're talking, 2022 at the earliest.
Well, there's a convention in Florida in like 2 months that I am probably going to. I haven't booked a ticket yet, but there's TCG Con in June.
Yikes.
Oh yeah, my second
baby.
shot is this Thursday, and
enjoy dying of a variant.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's going to be some events for Wizards to kind of see how they go. And so on. So I think, 2022, maybe not till the back half of the year, but I think you can expect a big return.
It's a vital part of the economy. And one of the reasons why prices are so high is because transportation has been disrupted. The mechanism for getting cards churned through the market has been disrupted. And that is caused some bottlenecks, which have caused some price increases. So I think a stable economy is something that everybody
and I don't need
to, provided no ships end up in the Suez Canal.
I don't know that you'd see to finish answering the question. I don't know that you'd see huge changes in prices. You'd see less upward pressure on stuff, and I think you'll see the sort of the reserve list craze die down for a year or two, sort of thing, and you might see prices kind of drift. But I don't think you're going to see anything just crater. If anything, I think you're going to see modern prices go up while commander prices stay relatively stable.
Stay sexy. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on that.
When Magic is Post Malone and there's a new EDH craze.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Well, last thing we want to do this week, as always, is take all this information and turn it into picks of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Oops. Okay. What's your real one? Oh, you know what? Let's circle around back to Cheaty. I'll go. Number one commander of the 2 weeks on EDH Rec is Oscar the Reconstructor. Not close. I looked at the whole deck list. I think a card that just got reprinted in a Double Masters and has some real potential to go back up to where it was and is gettable under $2 currently is Kuldotha Forge Master, baby. That card's cheating on a stick. That card's brutal. It ends games, and it's too cheap. It's going to go back up. It's shrugged off a reprint before Kuldotha Forge Master. Put it in your face.
Kuldotha Forge Master is an excellent pick, and you know what works well with that? Rings of Brighthearth. This is an $40 card, now reduced to a $5 card. It was in Commander Legends, and then everybody was like, yay! And then it's still just plummeted ever since. It went down to 8, it went down to 5, and I believe it has finally hit its breaking point of $5, and these are going to be 20 before you know it. I think that it's just a powerful effect. You may argue that it has been power creeped by something like Lithiform Engine, but I will argue that you will just either play both or continue to play Rings of Brightheart just based on search engine optimization and like the fact that it's been a card for 20 years, so it'll continue to get pushed.
You'll argue just because you like to argue.
That's also true.
That's also true. No, good pick. I'll round things out. I'm going to go with an EDH favorite, Ramunap Excavator from Hour of Devastation, recently just reprinted in Commander Legends. It's $3.50 to $4 right now. And before this reprint, Ramunap Excavator at one point topped out near $15. So I think the pedigree's...
Look at the price trajectory of, what's the thing with the City's Blessing, the 5/5?
Wayward Swordtooth.
Wayward Swordtooth. Look at the Ramunap Excavator was pulling a Swordtooth before.
Yes.
This.
Pulling a Swordtooth sounds like a euphemism for like how your daughter is going to say like the word masturbate in her generation. Like that's pulling a Swordtooth. Yes. It sounds like a euphemism. That's gonna be like a post-Zoomer phrase.
They're going to say something so unfathomably fucking stupid. I'm going to feel like an old man. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to hate all their slang. I'm going to hate their slang so much. And I'm going to remember that, like, my parents couldn't understand my slang, and I thought they were so lame, and I'm going to feel so embarrassed.
Dude, our slang is PogChamp, though. Like, it's pretty poggers.
Right.
That's your slang. I'm almost 14.
There's people your age in our Discord that use the word poggers though, and it makes me.
Yeah, and it's fucking embarrassing, dude. It's embarrassing. They should be ashamed. I have to do double duty. I have to be ashamed for knowing poggers, and then I have to be ashamed of them for using it. And like, why put me through all that? That's not fair to me.
You're truly the victim here. That's what I took from that as well.
I'm a hero, is what I am.
Well,
a martyr in his own time.
okay.
I'm a PogChamp.
Well, thanks.
Make an episode.
I'm not gonna say cut it. I'm gonna say figure like the.
I'm gonna say make
like,
us
the
an
hot
episode.
dog guy, the Costco hot dog.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking figure. If you raise the price of the fucking PogChamp, I'll fucking kill you. Figure it out.
Well, on that note, everybody, thank you so much.
What?
It's a no, man. It's a no.
We just discussed how it was being cut. You don't know the note. You didn't go to patreon.com/BSB and give us $20 a month, which is $4 or $5 an episode, to have access to the after hours where what was just cut is available on an after hours cut. So when Corbin says, on that note, you don't know the note, unless you are one of our patrons. It goes patreon.com/BSB, gives us that money, has access to this handsome drinking glass, the playmat, the tokens, the Discord server, which honestly is worth $20, and we are only charging $1 for it. Being a patron of us gives you the access you crave. We will validate you as a person. You can write $20 patron on the email. We'll read it. We read one today. The guy asked us weird questions about whether we like pools or bowling, and we answered.
I will say,
if you would like us to answer a question,
if you compare like every other like Twitch streamer and like what's the word, influencer, in terms of like cost of accessibility to have your parasocial relationship validated, we're at the very bottom of that cost, like, price list. Like, $1 to have your parasocial relationship validated is like such a good deal from like an EV perspective.
On that note, what note? No one knows the note.
It was a pretty poggers episode.
Give us a note. Give us a $1 note with George Washington's face on it every single month to have access to the Discord.
Okay, that's enough. I think we've retaken this 3 times now. There's just so many notes. I'm lost in the music. But this is Brainstorm Brewery, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
PogChamp!
I was a PogChamp. No one could beat me because I had the best slammer. Wabble, wabble, wabble. It's Pogs. Remember Pogs, Corbin Hostler? Remember Pogs?